Hi guys, Fred Wellman, host of On Democracy with F. Wellman, right here in the MeidasTouch Network. Well, the clown car caucus can't be outdone, and the panic is ensuing in the MAGA Republican circles as Donald Trump finally faces justice. Just today, Judge Chutkan in D.C. announced she's going to hold a trial for the January 6th case from Jack Smith starting on March 4th, 2024. Didn't take any time for the panic to set in and more attempts to undermine the investigation. Now, we're already dealing with Jim Jordan saying he's going to launch an investigation of Fani Willis and her involvement with Jack Smith because they're going to get to the bottom of what kind of coordination is going on because there's conspiracy. Now, look, you and I know that's not a thing, and he really can't investigate a state prosecution. But what he can do and what he is doing is trying to taint the jury pool. When you talk about everything we talk about in the next 5 minutes, keep in mind the goal here isn't necessarily to stop these investigations, it's to muddy the waters so hopefully someone gets in that jury room and says, I don't know, I've got questions, and thus freeing Donald Trump to continue his malignant ways. But Jim Jordan can't be outdone. It's funny. I had a guest, Dennis After, got on the show about 4 months ago, and he told me that the thing about Jim Jordan, his brand is faceplant. And he's going to faceplant this too. But of course, there's others. Marjorie Taylor Greene already said she wanted to defund the special prosecutor's office using the appropriations and funding process. She announced that months ago. But there's more. Today, the great Andrew Clyde of Georgia announced that he is going to launch a bill that will prohibit the use of federal funding for the prosecution of any major presidential candidate prior to the upcoming presidential election on November 5th, 2024. But the kicker is, this isn't just appropriations for Jack Smith. He wants any federal funds going to Alvin Bragg or Fani Willis. That's weird, right? He's specifically targeting a city and a state prosecutor for defunding of federal dollars, so that's his big plan because he just thinks it's out. He has serious concerns about these witch hunt indictments against President Trump. So he's going to offer amendments to prohibit federal funds being used for federal state courts that investigate actual crimes. Andrew Clyde, you may remember from this wonderful clip from May of 2021 during hearings surrounding the January 6th investigation. He got famous for this one.
The hearing is called the Capitol Insurrection. Let's be honest with the American people. It was not an insurrection, and we cannot call it that and be truthful. The Cambridge English Dictionary defines an insurrection as, and I quote, an organized attempt by a group of people to defeat their government and take control of their country, usually by violence. And then from the Century Dictionary, the act of rising against civil authority or governmental restraint, specifically the armed resistance of a number of persons to the power of the state. As one of the members who stayed in the Capitol and on the House floor, who with other Republican colleagues helped barricade the door until almost 3 p.m. that day from the mob who tried to enter, I can tell you the House floor was never breached, and it was not an insurrection. This is the truth. There was an undisciplined mob. There were some rioters and some who committed acts of vandalism. But let me be clear, there was no insurrection, and to call it an insurrection, in my opinion, is a bold-faced lie. Watching the TV footage of those who entered the Capitol and walked through Statuary Hall showed people in an orderly fashion staying between the stanchions and ropes, taking videos and pictures. If you didn't know the TV footage was a video from January the 6th, you would actually think it was a normal tourist visit.
Yeah, he's the tourist guy. Who else would be doing this, right? They're just orderly tourists. Matter of fact, here's Andrew Clyde helping with all those tourists. Here he is screaming in panic behind an armed guard after they barricaded the house. And here's him barricading the house with his friends from the security, the Capitol Police. Just a normal tourist visit. So Andrew Clyde obviously lives in an alternative universe of facts, but he's not to be outdone. Now, a couple of weeks ago, and this is my favorite one, a couple of weeks ago, a guy named Andy Ogles from Tennessee, he filed a bill, and I got to read it to you, folks. And here's it on screen. But here's the name of his bill. You ready for this one? His goal is going to be, no kidding, just defunding pay for Jack Smith. That's it. Not allowing Jack Smith to be paid. And here's the name of the bill. You have to read this. The bill is called the Yanking Outlays for an Unethical, Ruthless Enterprise That Fraudulently Impedes Robust Electoral Debate Act, or the You're Fired Act. Isn't that hilarious? Because You're Fired is Donald Trump's big signature gotcha line from the reality TV show, The Apprentice. These guys are hilarious. Hey, he's so funny. Check out my friend Andy Ogle's Christmas photo with his family. Just an all-American group of people with their AR-15s celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ. That's who Andy Ogles is. Oh, by the way, he's also a liar and a fraud. You know, he's currently being investigated because he literally made up his entire resume. Says he's an economist. No proof of that. Doesn't have a degree. Says he's was a cop involved in international sex trafficking investigations. Turns out he's like a volunteer, reserve sheriff briefly until he got kicked out because he never did any training. He's just full of good ideas. But you know what? He's making them MAGA chuds proud, isn't he? Look, we're going to see a lot more of this, all right? They're going to do everything they can to throw anything on the wall they can stick to. Of course, the big thing they're doing is McCarthy is now saying that he intends to start a impeachment process, if you will, an investigation against Joe Biden in the new term here at the end of September. Just an investigation. Why? He does not have the votes to vote for it. So what he's going to do is just kind of launch an investigation without any kind of vote to do it because he knows moderate members of his caucus aren't going for it. Remember, folks, there's 18 Biden districts where Biden actually won the election, and there's 18 Republicans exposed in those districts like Pennsylvania won, where it was a +5 Biden. Those guys do not want to spend the year before the election doing nothing but spinning their wheels trying to undermine Joe Biden or anything. So lots to go. We'll keep you posted here in the MeidasTouch Network. Make sure to watch On to Mox with F. Wellman every Friday night at 11 right here in the MeidasTouch Network. Thanks.